Hello guys, welcome to Alowyn Gardens in the Yarra Valley. We have got an amazing show for you today. We've been here for a number of years now and I'm going to take you on a tour of our place. Come on, let's go. So this is our indoor plant area. We now have a really good new selection. We have changed everything around and undercover, protected from the weather, hanging baskets in just about every size you can think of. We have an amazing range of indoor plants, rafus palms. So this dwarf Mysteria, or the Swiss cheese plant, fantastic little plant inside or on the veranda, providing it's completely frost free. Remember, all indoor plants are indoor because they are suitable to grow in low light conditions. However, if you're going to take them onto your patio, make sure it's in an area where the temperature does not get below ideally 10 or 12 degrees at night. The old-fashioned umbrella plant, Schefflera, very, very tough. Or a native from Queensland, Rovio, beautiful low plant. Ivy, very old-fashioned, but in hanging baskets or in a dark room, they do incredibly well. And then of course there are bromeliads. Now, aren't these just fantastic plants? Have a look at that. They're incredibly tough, very easy to look after. You don't ever water the soil, just water in the hollow tubes in the plants and just keep it full. They are fantastic. They will grow outside, they will grow indoors, providing it's a reasonably light condition. Just remember that every shoot only ever flowers once. The flower lasts around for a long time. Once that's finished, new shoots will come up from the bottom, and as the new shoot comes, you get a new flower to go with it. Okay, I think we've seen enough inside, and we're now going outside and have a look at the wisteria. So here we are in our Japanese wisteria archway, and Japanese, which is a little bit unusual. You don't see Japanese wisteria that often in Australia, and that's mainly because it takes a long time before they come into flower. But when they finally do come into flower, they are absolutely worthwhile waiting for. These flowers have only reached about 20% of their full opening, and when they are fully finished, they will actually come down to that sort of level. So in another 2 weeks' time, this will just be a total curtain of flowers, and to imagine that curtain to go all the way down to the very end is really quite spectacular. I think we need to go and have a look at our French-inspired garden. So this is our French-inspired garden, which is nearly a couple of acres, and it's basically 4 lawn areas separated by a lawn which is nearly 60 meters long, big waterway that in the summer just looks fantastic. And the idea is that there is a canopy of trees that is fully shaded in the summer, and in the winter of course it's deciduous, which means we get all the light coming out. Now within that we have 4 very significant little flower fields that gives you just different colors throughout the year. And the first one, which is just about coming into full flower now, is our poppy field up here. So we're going to go for a walk and have a look at the poppies. And here we are at the poppy field, and isn't that colour just absolutely amazing? Now poppy is an interesting plant because one, the colour, but secondly it's actually a very much a edible plant. So once these heads mature, they are totally full of seed, and the seed is the poppy seed that you get on your bread or on cakes or any other thing. We don't use it for anything. As soon as they finish flowering, we take them out and we put another edible crop in, which is the amaranth. The seed of that looks almost identical, but it's a plant that's come from South America many hundreds of years ago. Okay guys, it's spring, summer is on the way. You're looking at your succulents in the garden and think, wow, they're just looking a little bit shabby. And so now is the perfect time to clean them up, cut them back a little bit, tidy them up, and you can just create a total new creation. It's simply as easy as that. And all you do is clean them up, take all the old leaves off. When you do that, don't put your cuttings in straight away. Leave them for a couple of days and they will heal. They form a little bit of cambium over the cut. After a couple of days, you will have all your plants ready, and you can just create a total new creation. It's simply as easy as that. And you put it away out in the full sun, and before you know it, you have the most amazing new creation full of different colors. Have fun. So here we are in the nursery part of Alowyn Gardens. Alowyn Gardens is really quite a large undertaking. We basically build a display garden which is about 8 acres, and as part of that we also grow, and we try and grow just about every plant that we put into the garden. And because we know what works really well in the area, we've got a fantastic collection, literally from a small tube style plant up to mature, and we really do try and get a big collection together. So anywhere from pots, bird baths to the more mature. And look at this one here. That's the viburnum snowball tree. How teasing is that? Now, in about 3 or 4 weeks' time, they will be absolutely pure white, nearly the size of my hand, and it literally looks like a snowball. Come on, let's go from the nursery, and we're going to have a look at the gardens itself. So this is our Malus walk. Malus is a crabapple, Malus floribunda. It's an incredibly tough tree, and it's the closest that we can think of to have an avenue made out of flowering cherries. Now, flowering cherries are a little bit like this, grow slightly bigger, but are just a little bit more maintenance to keep them in that beautiful shape. And this here is just fantastic, and we love it. The good thing about the Malus is that you can basically prune it to almost any size you want it to be. We have some of them that we grow into a ball. The trees are the same age, and we basically grow them into a ball about 1.5 meters in diameter, or you can let them grow out and fill out to their full element. Now in the summer this is a beautifully shaded walk, whereas in the winter of course you get all of the light coming in, and in spring you get this transformation that starts off with these tiny little buds with a beautiful pink deep colour, and then they slowly lighten up. And yesterday we had quite a bit of wind, and walking through here is like being in the middle of a snowstorm. And of course, part of our gardens, we have a very large edible garden. I'm standing here in the newest part of our edible garden, and right here we have broad beans, and as you can see we have quite a bit of it. Now there is nothing better than to walk in your own part of the garden and just to find the fruit, and unfortunately they're only just starting, but there is nothing better than to find. There we are. Have a look at that. Fresh off the plant, ready to eat. You can't beat life like that. Okay, so this is our Quince walk, and it's interesting from the point of view that, for one, it really frames a beautiful picture, but secondly, these are fruit trees, and when you think about it, these quinces here, the flowers are incredibly delicate, and so what it goes to show is that you can have a quince tree have an amazing show of colour in spring, and then for the rest of the summer you have fruit, and on the end of the year you can pick it and have quince paste and quince jelly all of the same tree, as well as you can prune it up higher and use it as a shade tree. So it's an incredibly versatile plant in many ways, and looking at that, isn't that just incredibly delicate? So this is our silver birch forest. We started this as the first part of our garden when we first bought this basically block of land and turned it into a garden approximately 20 years ago. These were the first areas that we planted up. As part of that, we planted approximately 500 silver birches into a natural forest setting. Birches struggle a little bit in Australia, but because we planted them very close together, they have survived remarkably well. And so the ones around me that we are seeing up here is the ordinary Bachelor pendula, the standard silver birch, and I'm going to show you a really interesting birch in a minute, which comes from a different part of the world, and historically it's had a very big influence on the world itself. So the silver birch is a very interesting plant. If you go to Northern Europe, and as I've done, and one of the last trees that you see in Europe before you get to the North Pole is actually the silver birch, and there are forests there of trees that are 100 years old, and they literally don't grow above that kind of level because they love the cold and they can handle that really well. Now this is also a birch. It's actually the paper birch, and it's really quite significant historically because the bark of this was one of the very earliest writing areas, and some of the paper scrolls that exist in history have been written on paper bark, and this is the tree. It's amazing how interesting that is. Thank you for coming to visit us in our Yarra Valley garden party, and be assured that by the time we open up again, we'll be 100% ready for you, and hoping to come and visit us in real life and see what this is all about. In the meantime, enjoy.